We now move on to the second part of the Q&A section. Questions from all participants are welcome. You may press the raise hand key or use the chat function of Zoom to alert us if you wish to raise questions.
How about Professor Edwin CHAN?
Thank you very much. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to ask a question on the other emphasis of this call, which is novel infectious diseases. So the first thing I would like to clarify is, would bacterial infection also be considered as an NIV? And the second question regarding NIV is whether or not, like other viruses, such as Ebola viruses, can also be one of the themes to be submitted for consideration. Thank you.
Now, of course, we are not going to limiting you to study certain kind of diseases, as long as it's novel infectious diseases. Under the roof of novel infectious disease, they would all be covered. One has to ask is that if you study Ebola, whether you are qualified to do that in Hong Kong, whether you have the level 4 lab to do that in Hong Kong, and if you don't, do you go to Wuhan to do it, or go to Singapore to do it, or go to India to do it? That is something you have to justify in your proposal.
Okay. Thank you very much.
How about Donald Wong of Hong Kong UST, please? Or Professor Wu?
I'm Mi Song from HKUST. So I have a question. Did the junior PI have disadvantages to apply the CRF? The untenured faculty to apply CRF, does they have some disadvantages for the junior PI?
Okay, for a junior PI. So whether are you asking about the TRS or the CRF?
CRF, sorry.
TRS. Okay.
CRF.
Theme-based research scheme.
No, CRF.
Theme-based or CRF?
Yeah.
TRS, right?
No, CRF.
Collaborative Research Fund.
Okay, collaborative research fund, because they all sound the same. Okay. There are no requirement that is like whether the PI is junior or senior in reviewing in a proposal. However, I think that the qualification of the PI as well as the past collaboration history credentials of the team is also very important in doing the reviews. Meaning that from our past experience, the teams that succeeded in getting CRF or the theme-based research scheme or the collaborative research funding scheme, in most cases, they have collaborated together and have joined research together. Now, if you form a new team today from people who have never worked together, then I think that, of course, we are not going to say that you should not submit a proposal, but you need to make a good case on why this new collaboration would allow you to do this innovative research that you are making in your proposal. So collaboration, the history on collaboration is one of the aspects in looking at the, when we review the proposal. It is an important aspect together with the academic quality.
Thank you.
We have Ken Fung from EDU, please.
Good afternoon, Chairman and everyone. Can you hear me well?
Yes, please.
Yes, okay, thank you. A question similar to Professor Edwin CHAN on the outsourcing arrangements. And we know that the money should be spent in Hong Kong, but as social scientists, sometimes we do comparative research. That means sometimes we have to sample respondents from different areas. If we want to say we compare the social impact of the COVID-19 in different areas in Asia, then the money must be spent outside Hong Kong. Right. So will you accept comparative research?
We do accept comparative research, and I recall that I said earlier, I did not say you cannot subcontract outside of Hong Kong. I said that in general, for projects supported under the CRF and the TRS, most of the money is used in Hong Kong. There could be cases that are made for projects that you need to subcontract research out of Hong Kong, and this will be approved on a case-by-case basis. That is, we do not have a general prescriptive policy on how to do it. You have to make the case in your proposal.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Is there any other questions, please? We have Professor Lang. Professor Lang YEOH.
You have to turn on your microphone.
Professor Lang of CUHK.
Okay, all right, thank you. I'm EKU from Chinese University. Currently in the COVID pandemic, one of the key problems is there is no good methodology for looking at broad interdisciplinary approaches to the issues of both containing the virus pandemic and in terms of the mitigation. So in the context of the assessments of both TRS and CRN, in terms of the methodological rigor, if there are new methodologies coming in of interdisciplinary measures, how would that be assessed?
Again, I think that we do not prescribe what kind of new methodology that you will be using in your research. It is something that you need to describe and propose in your proposal, and we are only stating that anything under the sky could be considered as long as you make a good case on it.
My question is that then how will that be assessed? Because in methodology, it will be outside sort of your four themes normally. So there will be people really who more looks into really different areas, but they're looking for more interdisciplinary methodologies, which are new methodologies, which need to be developed for the overall pandemic.
Now, in that case, I think it is your responsibility to convince peer reviewers that such methodology is novel, meaning that all the proposals will be reviewed by peer reviewers, and you have to make a case on it. We cannot state one way or the other whether the reviewers are going to like it or not. It is hard to state it as a rule.
I think my question I raised is because I'm in the one of the WHO research groups on the social science panel. Of course, there they find that a lot of the methodologies that we're using in our current research are inadequate to deal with these more interdisciplinary type of issues. And of course, as you said quite rightly, in this pandemic, you're looking at very different disciplines and how they can really come together to look at addressing the introduction of novel infectious diseases and mitigating the effects and the longer term effects. And so there's a lot of work that needs to be done, and methodology is one of the key things that they identify as a problem in terms of the current issue. So when you have traditional people using the traditional methods, it's not going to be adequate for the current outbreak. Of course, people who are very good in their traditional methods do not see the need for interdisciplinary approaches. So there needs to be a special category of individuals that have that perspective, which will then do justice to some of these new methods.
Well, I cannot say one way or the other whether there are those special individuals that exist today. You have to first submit the proposal and then let the panel look at them and say whether they are traditional or non-traditional. We cannot say that the examples that you mentioned are all details related to the research work that you are proposing, and you are making a hypothesis that there are people that don't exist or exist today. We cannot say, it is not the purpose of this forum to get into the details whether those experts exist or not exist today.
Okay, the next one from Professor Guo of Hong Kong BU, please.
Okay, Professor Hua. I refer what you mentioned about the collaborators' collaboration history. So I think because this new research or this pandemic is quite come with sudden and also very new, many collaboration is formed really have a not very long history, and they formed by solving a particular problems. They may not really have a very long collaboration history. But from what I understand, what you said is the panel may prefer a consortium who has a history of collaboration. So how can you deal with this possible contradiction? You know, some new idea, some new consortium may formed a very sort of recently without too much collaboration past. Because that's the nature of this, you know, mission critical kind of research.
I was only stating from the past experience on collaboration and what this collaboration is about. As I said earlier, the review of the proposal will be done on a holistic basis. We are going to look at the academic quality, the quality of the review, the quality of the project proposed, the management plan, the collaboration history, and the impact of the proposal. Everything will be taken into consideration. So we are not going to exclude and say you don't need collaboration, and we're going to consider anything that without collaboration. So at the end of the day, when two projects are equal, then I think that priority will be given to one with more collaborations over another one with less collaborations. So again, that this will be tiebreakers at the end, the tie-breaking criteria that will be used. Okay. And you have to understand what are the criteria that we are using. So we are only listing out all the possible criteria. It doesn't mean that they carry the same weight. At the end of the day, everything is evaluated holistically, and a recommendation will be made based on all the components taken together.
Yeah, probably, you know, if we have a new consortium, we need to demonstrate our mechanism for our future collaboration better because we don't have history. That's what you mean.
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Can I ask Professor Baker, please?
Yeah, my question kind of related to the previous question, in terms of the collaboration groups, you know, because obviously this is a major problem in Hong Kong and the rest of the world. It's going to take an interdisciplinary, multidisciplinary approach to solve it, I think. And therefore, new collaborations may be essential to solve the problem. So new collaborations, I think, need to be viewed very, very carefully indeed, because these collaborations may provide us with the answer to the problem.
I totally agree with what you're saying.
Thank you.
Good.
Okay. So the next one from Professor Lee of Hong Kong U, please.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I think the earlier two questions raise important issues.
I cannot hear what you're saying.
Yeah, can you hear now? The previous two questions are very important. I guess this is about, yes, we're talking about CRF and TRS here and collaboration. But for COVID-19, there might be, actually some new ideas might not need to be done in a collaborative team. So whether RGC would consider some other individual project kind of initiatives, like GRF initiatives for COVID-19.
For the GRF, in the new round of call for proposal, we are going to include some aspects of the COVID-19 as well as the NID. So this, I think to answer your question, yes, we are going to do that for other projects coming up in the call for proposal. For the current round of CRF and the theme-based research scheme, if you're not doing collaborations, I think it would be hard for an individual PI to use up $50 million in 5 years by himself or herself.
Okay. So Professor Lang of Chinese U, please.
Hi, this is Sue from Chinese University. Thank you. I'd like to clarify something Chairman mentioned earlier on. which is that currently for the theme-based initiative, I understand you mentioned there are already 4 from the existing theme-based that happen to be related to COVID-19, which would be sort of rated together with this one-off sort of theme-based. And I think you also mentioned that for the COVID-19 theme-based, it will be sort of 2 to 3 that will be given out. So is the maximum of sort of 3 set in stone? I'd just like to clarify these. Thank you.
I mentioned earlier that there are 4 related projects under the collaborative research scheme, not the theme-based research scheme. Those were based on pre-proposals submitted earlier this year. There are 4, the Secretariat has identified 4 of those projects that are pre-proposals submitted under the CRF, the Collaborative Research Scheme. Those projects will be transferred to the new round that will be reviewed and under the shortlisting process to be interviewed in December. Now, as I said, for the CRF, the normal amount, the average amount that we have based on the past history is around $6 million per project. We have $150 million, so that comes out to be about 25 projects that we expect to fund under the $150 million. For the theme-based research scheme, the annual budget we had last year was $200 million. This year is $230 million. For the one-off initiative, it is $100 million. Now, the average funding that it goes between $10 million to $50 million. So if you divide up the $100 million by something like $40 million each or $30 million each, that would come out to be about 3 projects on the average that we expect to fund under the theme-based research scheme.
Okay, thank you for the clarification.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
So any more questions? I don't see anybody raise their hand, so perhaps Professor YEOH would like to say something at the end before we end the session, please.